Long ago, in the ancient Igbo kingdom of Oko, there lived a princess whose beauty was spoken about in villages far beyond the kingdom. Her name was Princess Nneka. She was the only child of King Chukwuma, a powerful ruler respected by warriors, elders, and neighboring kings. Nneka was beautiful, intelligent, graceful, and fearless. But there was one thing about the princess that no one could understand. She refused every prince who came to ask for her hand in marriage. The first prince arrived from a wealthy kingdom in the east. He brought gold ornaments, coral beads, ivory bracelets, and 20 warriors dressed in colorful traditional cloth. The king welcomed him with a great feast. But when Nneka entered the royal courtyard, the prince bowed and said, "Princess Nneka, I have come to make you my wife and unite our kingdoms." Nneka looked at him calmly. Then she said, "No." The entire courtyard became silent. The prince returned home in shame. Then another prince came. And another. Some brought horses. Some brought precious fabrics. Some brought enormous gifts and promised to make Nneka the most powerful queen in the land. But every time, her answer remained the same. No. Soon, the people began to whisper. She thinks she is better than everyone. Perhaps she is secretly in love with someone. Maybe there is something wrong with her. But the oldest women of Oko did not join the gossip. They were afraid. Because they remembered a secret that the royal family had tried to bury for generations. One night, an elderly woman named Mama Udo went secretly to the king. She entered his palace trembling. "My king," she whispered, "you must stop allowing these princes to come." King Chukwuma frowned. "Why?" Mama Udo looked toward the princess's chamber. "Because Nneka must never marry." The king stood up. "What are you saying?" The old woman lowered her voice. "Your ancestors made a terrible bargain with the spirit many generations ago. The bargain gave your bloodline power and protection. But there was one condition." She paused. "The princess of the bloodline must never marry a man from another royal family." King Chukwuma's face became pale. "And if she does?" Mama Udo looked directly into his eyes. "The curse will awaken." That night, the king finally confronted his daughter. "Nneka," he said, "tell me the truth. Why have you refused every prince?" For the first time, tears appeared in the princess's eyes. "Because I know what will happen if I marry." The king froze. "You knew?" Nneka nodded. "For years, I have heard a woman crying in my dreams. She calls my name. She tells me that if I marry, something buried beneath the palace will wake." King Chukwuma wanted to believe it was only a nightmare. But then Nneka revealed something she had hidden beneath her clothing. A strange black mark covered part of her chest. The same symbol had been carved into an ancient stone beneath the royal palace. Before the king could speak, a terrifying sound echoed through the kingdom. Boom! The palace walls shook. Outside, the sacred forest became strangely silent. The birds disappeared. The wind stopped. Then came another sound. A woman's voice. "Nneka." The princess stood frozen. The voice came again. "Nneka, your time is over." That night, the king ordered the palace guards to search the ancient shrine beneath the palace. There, hidden behind a wall of stone, they discovered a forgotten chamber. Inside was an ancient wooden coffin. Carved into its lid were the words, "When the princess refuses love, the curse slips. When the princess accepts love, the dead shall rise." But there was something else. A name. Nneka. The princess was not merely connected to the curse. She was the final descendant of the woman who had created it. Her ancestor had once fallen deeply in love with a prince from another kingdom. Their love had been forbidden by the royal family. When the lovers tried to escape, the prince was murdered. The heartbroken woman cursed the royal bloodline. And before she died, she swore that no princess from her bloodline would ever experience the same forbidden love. But there was one part of the curse no one understood. The curse did not say Nneka could never love. It said she could never marry the wrong man. Then, one evening, a stranger arrived in Oko. He was not a prince. He was a humble hunter named Namdi. He carried no gold. No warriors followed him. He wore a simple hand-woven wrapper and carried an old hunting bag across his shoulder. When Nneka saw him, something inside her changed. For the first time in her life, she wanted to say yes. But that same night, the ancient spirit returned. The palace shook violently. The sacred trees bent beneath an invisible wind. And beneath the palace, the coffin began to crack open. Nneka realized the terrible truth. She had finally found the man she loved. And loving him might awaken the curse. She looked at Nmodi through tears. If I stay with you, my kingdom may suffer. Nmodi stepped closer. Then we will face it together. Suddenly, the ground split beneath them. A dark figure rose from the earth. It was the spirit of Nneka's ancient ancestor. The entire kingdom heard her scream. You were warned. Nneka stood between the spirit and the man she loved. Then she understood the secret hidden inside the curse. It was never created to destroy love. It was created from love that had been destroyed. Nneka took Nmodi's hand. I will not allow the past to decide my future. She faced the spirit and spoke the truth that had been buried for generations. The ancient curse shattered. The spirit disappeared into the darkness. But the victory came with a terrible price. The sacred shrine collapsed, and King Chukwuma sacrificed himself to save his daughter. Before he died, he looked at Nneka and smiled. Your refusal was never foolishness, my daughter. You were protecting us. Years later, Princess Nneka became queen. And beside her stood Namdi, the hunter who had become her husband. But the people of Oko never forgot what happened. They taught their children one lesson. Some secrets remain buried for a reason. And when forbidden truths are hidden for too long, the consequences can reach generations yet unborn. Because sometimes, the greatest danger is not the secret itself. It is what happens when people refuse to face it.